Yo, Eric, we're over here on the paranormal hunt, and I headed over to this other building, and it's number 13. I was just telling Ron, my God.
Well, happy Friday the 12th, because tomorrow is Friday the 13th. You know, Friday the 13th.
That's right.
Is there something to that number? Some people say there is. Some people say there's not. I know it's my favorite number. I don't know. I always liked the number 13. For me, I liked it. Is it because of the movies Friday the 13th? Maybe. But what is the history of the number 13? I got a few videos that talks about the 13, some history about it. And the question is, if there are aliens life, which I believe there is, when they travel the earth, do they skip Friday the 13th like a lot of people do? Apparently, there's data that shows a lot of people don't travel on Friday the 13th. And I'll tell you why this is very important for me, because there is something that I'm doing on Friday the 13th that if this number is true, I'm a goner. Say goodbye to the world. Now, I'll tell you about that after I play this first video. It's called Why We Fear Friday the 13th. Why do we fear it? Why are we scared of it? Or are we scared of it? Well, let's see here. It's going to do that again? That's fine. I have to come up with the video. Sometimes I pull it ready, and for whatever reason now, it does that. So here we go.
Friday the 13th, it's estimated that about 20 million Americans might reschedule a doctor's appointment, refuse to fly, or cancel an event if it falls on this fateful day. It's at the top of the list that includes black cats, broken mirrors, stepping on cracks, and yes, walking under a ladder.
And I don't know if it's this video, guys, or this other one that I have. They say on Friday the 13th, airlines, bus tickets, it's down like by over $8 million. So there is truth to that, but not me. And I'll tell you why. Hold on.
There is even a name for the fear of Friday the 13th, paraskavedekatriaphobia. The history of this infamous day goes back a bit further than that guy in a goalie mask. Some historians trace it to the Last Supper, where the 13th guest may have been the apostle who betrayed Jesus. For us, our brain...
You guys hear that? The Last Supper, the number 13 guy who betrayed Jesus. If you're in the religious world,
Judas
13. I mean, I don't know the whole story about all the people at the Last Supper, I'll be honest with you, but apparently the 13th guy is the one who betrayed him. Man, that's interesting.
Like to make causal connections. So if something bad happened to you on this date, the link will be forever associated in your mind, and you may need something to blame. We call on ways to control uncertainty by following rituals or carrying a lucky charm.
Hold on a second. Breaking news. Danny was born on November 13th. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. You make sure you don't travel on your birthday at all, because you probably get the triple whammy on that day. So be safe. Be safe on that day.
Like a rabbit's foot, which probably wasn't that lucky for the one-legged limping rabbit. There is no evidence that this day is any different from any other day. You'll be fine. Knock on wood.
Really? We will be fine. We'll be fine. And I got another video that says the history behind Friday the 13th. See, people, I'm telling them, we're throwing out some history. And then after I play this one, I want to hear some opinions of Ron about the number 13. Let me see if this one plays, or I got to take it down, put it back up. Looks like it's going to be I guess it is Friday the 13th.
Try it again. Just try it again. Yeah.
It's just weird. Let me see here. Whoops. Actually, I accidentally deleted it out, but hold on. Why do we fear? Here we go.
Friday the 13th has been the source of superstition for quite a while now, especially since the movie came out and terrorized people all over the world. However, where did this superstition originate from? Surely it can't have come out of thin air. This is all things creepy. Let's find out. So, believe it or not, the fear of the date Friday the 13th is actually a very widespread and very real phenomenon. It is classified medically under the name paraskavedekatriaphobia, with a general relatively...
Hold on. Can you say that word? If I try to attempt to say that freaking word, paraskavedekatriaphobia.
The whole alphabet.
I'm serious. I'm going to continue this video. But Ron, tell me, if you're a person that's putting names into a phobe or something, who in the right mind is that, hey, I'm going to make a word with 20, 30 letters in it?
It's somebody that wants to show you, like, they don't care, they don't walk around with their degrees, so they want to show you they're smart, so that's what they'll say, you know.
Can this word be in a spelling bee?
What the hell does it even mean? Paraskavedekatriaphobia. What the frig is that?
It's a real word.
Every letter of the alphabet.
It's a word that for people that have fear on the 13th, that they named it, and they had to use the most.
You just say it's a fear of the 13th. That's it. They gotta say
or just call it Jason Voorhees. I don't know. That doesn't matter to me. But I'm looking at that word like I'm always wondering who was the guy who wrote out what this phobia should be called. I mean,
let me see something.
It just blows my mind. It truly does. Like, wow. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. Here we go.
Relatively vague description of apprehension or a perception of bad luck leading up to or more often on the very date of Friday the 13th. However, where does this come from? Catholics, for instance, believe that Jesus Christ was crucified on Friday the 13th. However, there's little evidence for this and it can't be verified.
That is interesting because when I heard that part, that it can't be verified, I've never even heard that there's even I've never heard anybody says that. Did you know there's a theory that Jesus died on Friday the 13th? I never heard that theory before. I mean, have you?
No, it's well, no, because see, my thing goes how I'm trying to remember the story, but my thing goes that it was actually the 13 was because of the Knights Templar. That's where, who knows, but that's where it's supposed to have originated, was because there was the 13 Templar and they were supposedly trying to secure the chalice, the Holy Grail, Jesus, and keep that, and they were slaughtered, or the 13 of them. And that's when that's when they said that the Friday the 13th, and you know, it just so happened it was 13 and it happened on the Friday of the 13th. So that's where they say that came from. Who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? 13 people at the Last Supper. The 13th guy is supposed to be the one who betrayed what you just said. And then the theory that he actually died on Friday 13th. Man, there's a lot of 13s there in the religious world.
By the way,
wow.
That word you put up was first coined in the early 90s by Dr. Donald E. Dossie, an American psychotherapist.
Yeah, psychotherapist. Yeah, he's
Specializing in phobias and stress management, who reputedly claimed that when someone was able to pronounce the word, they were cured.
What did Danny say here? On Friday the 13th, the Pope had thousands of Templars put to death for heresy.
Heresy.
Huh. I never heard that either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot, and you know, there's a lot of different things that come out now. The Templar thing, I would lean more towards the Templar thing. You know, that's where I guess your modern day Masons come from, right? From the Knights Templar. But that's what, from what I was reading, it was funny. You know, I didn't know that there was a show today. I thought there was one tomorrow. So I didn't even prepare, but I know a little about this though. So I'm just going to search something.
No, and I'll tell you guys what I'm doing tomorrow and why this 13 is going to come into play. So you guys don't have to wait for that. But I love doing these kind of shows because I'm learning so much already with the religious world about that 13. This is so cool. This is what I live for.
Oddly enough, the myth of Friday the 13th seems to be littered throughout history. Allegedly, as far back as 1307, some Knights of the Templar were burnt at the stake in France. And you guessed it, apparently this took place on Friday the 13th, all those hundreds of years ago. Some suggest the reason it has persisted and is still relevant today is due to the Freemasons who were allegedly involved with the Knights Templar. There's certainly no doubt that some kind of unknown historical origin sparked the myth of Friday the 13th. It's just difficult to pinpoint which exactly it was. The task becomes that much more difficult when you consider how miserable things were during the Dark Ages. This is a time when medieval warfare was commonplace, plagues cropped up everywhere and wiped out large populations. You'd be hard-pressed to find a Friday the 13th where something horrible wasn't happening. Let's take the Crusaders that were burnt in France, for instance. Today this sounds quite horrific, however, back then to a peasant this would just be another day at the office. People were getting burnt at the stake all the time. However, whilst it's difficult to pinpoint the exact origins of Friday the 13th, its prevalence in modern society and pop culture is pretty clear. In 1980, we first saw Jason Voorhees hit the big screen in the slasher flick Friday the 13th. With his iconic appearance.
Well, actually, he's tiny bit wrong. The very first Friday the 13th was the mommy killing. There's a dream scene at the end as a little kid, but Jason didn't really come into play until Friday the 13th Part 2, just to clear that up. So there's, a mother's love for his child, I mean, if you think about it, the movie's really about a mother's love for his child because Jason had some mental, had some issues with him and he needed special care. And they're supposed to be watching him. Instead of watching him, two workers.
They made so many of them. I actually forgot that, Eric, in the beginning.
Well,
you just reminded me of that.
The 13 pot. So two camp people were having sex while he drowned in the water when they're supposed to be. He needed special care. Think about it. If you're a parent, now we all love our kids, no matter what. But sometimes if you do have a kid with a special care, there's a different kind of you have to care even more in a way to protect them because there's some special needs that the kid has. So think about what that would do if your kid was out in the water. I'm not saying what Mrs. Voorhees did was right or correct, but that I can see where a person can snap because the care you have for your child and they weren't doing their job and your son drowned. Now, that's a little downer. Sorry, guys. Let's get back to the video.
The hockey mask. Jason became...
What's that?
I'm going to tell you, I worked in the World Trade Center probably for about 6 years with Trade Center number 2. Do you know when you're in the elevator, there's no 13th floor?
Yeah.
A
lot of hotels. don't have 13 floors.
And there actually is a 13th floor. There's certain you got only get through the freight, and certain people could go.
Yeah.
It actually is a floor, but they're not in the elevators. You won't get that button.
And I think on another video that I have, I think they mentioned about the hotels and buildings.
Sorry about that.
And I was trying to find some videos about about the hotels, 13th, all that. And every video that I wanted to show are all copyrighted to the point where you can't even show it. You know, that's just the name of the game.
Became a horror icon, and Friday the 13th became an instant cult classic. So much so that the film has to take some credit for keeping this myth alive. I strongly believe that if the movie had never come out, the myth of Friday the 13th and its strange, vague origins could have easily faded into obscurity in the 20th century. Oddly enough, the statistics show that there are less accidents and injuries on Friday the 13th, and it's highly speculated that the reason for this is fear and anxiety caused by the myth of Friday the 13th leads people to take less risks, which leads to less accidents and, as a result, less injuries. So in a weird way, it's almost like the hockey mask wearing villain is actually protecting us on Friday the 13th. Make sure you thank him next time you survive to Saturday. Like the video if you did, share it with a friend.
And I got one more, and this is some of it is the same stuff. It's hard to find a video that all different, but this is about the history behind it, the history of the 13.
I'll put a link for you too in case you want to go.
Oh, I just replied back to you. I got it up after this.
I just seen it.
Get ready to howl at the moon. That's right. It's Friday the 13th. That wasn't me. Okay, so a full moon is going to be out later tonight, as Alan was just saying. For some, this is an unlucky day. I already got a flat tire coming into work. For others, not so much. This is where the folklore all began. And this morning's Connect the Dots. Just like breaking a mirror or crossing paths with the black cat, for many, Friday the 13th seems to bring bad luck. An old legal document could be to blame for our aversion to the number 13. According to History.com, the 13th law mysteriously got left out of something called the Code of Hammurabi, leading people to think perhaps the number was unlucky. You could point the finger at the number 12. Mathematicians believe 12 is perfect. There are 12 months in a year, 12 hours on a clock. That could mean 13 is one step behind perfection. Or religion could play a role. Think the Last Supper and a certain 13th guest. The day itself does not help matters. And then there's this. Friday has long been considered the unluckiest day of the week. Take the 1980s slasher flick, Friday the 13th. Right. Okay, so here's a fun fact. It's estimated that between $800 and $900 million is lost in business on Friday the 13th.
Oh, I was way off. $800 to $900 million are lost on Friday the 13th. So if you guys don't think people are not afraid of that number, I thought 8 million, 800, $900 million. Wow. And some people don't travel on that day. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. Why we need 13 not to be an unlucky day. I'll tell you guys why. Right here. See, tomorrow I'm not doing the show. The reason is by 8 a.m., I'm going to be on a clipper boat from Seattle going to Vancouver Island to Canada. So I'm going to be out on the Puget Sound in the middle of the ocean, going from America to Canada tomorrow. So if 13's unlucky, it means I'm probably not going to make it. I'll probably be in the middle of the Puget Sound, and I saw that bad weather's coming back. I see California is going to be hit hard again, and I saw it going up on my day that I'm traveling. So if 13 is bad, guys, this broadcast here might be the holy grail of all broadcasts. This might be the last time you might see me. If you guys watch the news and find out that some clipper ship went down, there's only one clipper ship that leaves and then actually it leaves Canada back to America. So that same clipper does cross twice. But if you hear in the morning that a clipper went down, guys,
So
I wish you all.
with that being said, I just put in the chat, this may be your last chance to support this channel through PayPal. So do it now. That's it.
And for members of the channel, I am going to be filming myself on the boat and all that. So, and guess what? And why I do believe that $800-900 million are lost, Ron, because the reason I'm taking this trip, because this is the last weekend where this trip, price wise, is 50% off. And I was thinking to myself, is it 50% off because people don't want to travel on Friday the 13th? I'm like,
it's a combination because it's Friday the 13th, and then a lot of people slow down right after the holidays. Everybody's like broke, or they spent a lot of money, and they're traveling. So it's a double whammy.
Yeah, I just thought about that because that's the only reason why we're going is 50% off. The whole everything's
I love
like
it. Friday the 13th. You know why? The traffic's better. So that's when I go out and I'll drive like that. I love all that stuff.
I know. So hopefully that we don't hear anything bad, So just keep the eyes out, listen to the news and all that. And then I'm gonna pull up this cool website that Ron just shared with me. Let me pull it up. Let me find it here.
Do me a favor, if you do croak, right? Just at least when I'm doing my show, be a shadow, all right, and let us know it's you. Come. No, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to.
Here we go. All right, this website that he sent me. Let me get rid of some of my tabs. I got so many tabs up. Sometimes it's hard to maneuver once I got too many tabs up.
I know.
Friday 13th, facts about the unluckiest day in the calendar. It's unclear why it's feared. Well, we just saw in the video that if you're in the religion world, a lot of things happen with the number 13 in it. Very, very little is known about the origins of the day. Some historians believe that the superstition surrounding in the late 1900s. Well, no duh. I mean, come on, that's when majority of things got written down for the world to read. The first documented mention the day can be found in a biography of the Italian composer who died on Friday the 13th. Okay, somebody died on Friday the 13th. I'm sure. Oh, that would be interesting. What day do most people die on? I wonder if Friday the 13th will come up. That'd be interesting.
I know the day ends in Y.
Let me see here. 1907 book, Friday the 13th, by American businessman Thomas Lawson may have further the superstition. Other believes that the myths, biblical origins, which we saw in the videos. There's a lot of biblical origins there. Jesus was crucified on Friday, and there were 13 guests at the Last Supper. So we saw that. Yet the fear is very real. Well, yes, we know it's very real. We just heard that up to $800-900 million is less in the economy that's spent that day. Less people stay home. Less people get off the roads. They don't fly. Which guys, I'm gonna prove that's wrong. Tomorrow is gonna be proof that people do survive when they travel. Because if they not, I miss you all already. I miss you all already. So real that one scientific name wasn't enough. The fear of Friday the 13th is also called, I'm not saying that freaking word. Actually, look, there's two words. Look at this. Look at these two words. Not one, but two words.
Wait, frigga? Wait, that's the same one. Paraskavedekatriaphobia, right? I have a headache now from saying that.
Yeah, I could have said, now say that 10 times fast. Comes from Frigg, Norse goddess of wisdom, after Friday is named, and the Greek
that
word.
Must have been made by an Italian. Friggatriska.
Expert, very common. Expert says Millions of people estimate that business, especially airlines, suffer from severe losses. Yeah, we just said that. We just mentioned that severe losses, but not me, man. Even though I'm taking it on that day, my ticket was half off, so there might be some meaning to that. Friday 13th comes in threes. Here we go. A bit of bad news for all of you who suffer from figure, blah, 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 blah. All years will have at least one Friday the 13th. The good news is that there cannot be more than 3 Friday the 13th in a given calendar year. The longest one can go without seeing a Friday 13th is 14 months. Interesting. What is this? Blank Sunday? For a month to have Friday the 13th, the month must begin on a Sunday. Don't believe us? Check the calendar. Oh. I didn't know that. Friday 13 patterns repeated in the calendar. There's a method madness of Friday 13. Whenever a common year begins on a Thursday, the months February, March, and November will have Friday 13. Danny Stanton was born in November on Friday the 13th. This will happen 11 times in the 21st century. The February, March, November pattern repeats in a 28-year cycle. In the 21st century, the period began in 2009. In 2015, 6 years later, Friday the 13th occurred in February, March, and November. This won't happen for 11 more years until 2026.
My stepdad died October 13th, 2000, and that was Friday the 13th. I remember that.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Man, that's wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's crazy because my birthday's the 10th. And then
even during leap years, the Friday 13th can occur in a leap year as well. If January 1st of a leap year falls on a Sunday, the month of January, April, and July will each have Friday the 13th. Okay. In the 20th century, this happened on the 28th, 56, 84, 12, 40, 68, and 296. Alfred Hitchcock was born on the 13th. Danny and Alfred Hitchcock. Okay. The Master of Suspense was born on August 13, 1899. So Friday, August 13, 1999 would have been his 100th birthday.
Oh.
God damn, I feel old. He debuted in 1922. God, wow. You forget to realize how old his movies were and all that. Oh, 1922 with a movie called Number 13. Unfortunately, the film was doomed from the start and never got off the ground due to financial troubles. Wow. That's a bad start. Bad start.
My mother loves Alfred Hitchcock. Loves them.
And what's this? It's unlucky day only for some. Friday 13th is not universally seen as a day of misery. For example, in Italy, Friday the 17th and not Friday the 13th is considered to be the day that brings bad luck. In fact, the number 13 is thought to be a lucky number. So if anybody in the chat, if you guys are from France, I guess 17th is your bad day. Hey, is that Lisa from the UK? Hey, Lisa, you're from the UK. Is that true that 17 is actually considered a bad day and 13 is actually considered a lucky day? I'd like to know that. I know you're probably not from France, but I'm sure you're close to France that you might hear that. I'd like to know that. Here we go. It appears every one of his own filming. Oh, he puts in his own filming. That's cool to know.
Yeah. He's like a Stan Lee. You know how Stan Lee makes an appearance every movie?
Yeah.
You'll see him, and whether he's walking by or just standing there. Yeah.
And Quentin Tarantino, all his movies, he puts the packet of cigarettes that had Apple on it in all his movies. He always has it laying around in his movies. Let me see here. It's okay. So
at least they're only a few seconds. They're not like Jeremy Doorbell that's in it half the movie.
That's true. There's very little evidence to show that Friday the 13th is indeed an unlucky day. Many studies have shown that Friday the 13th has little or no effect on an event like accidents, hospital visits, and natural disaster. But it says less. But it also says that less people travel that day, so more people are home. to protect themselves from the 13th. You got to put that to effect. Why is that the proof estimate? Because remember, if you lose $800, $900 million, that's not a fake number, right? So that tells you people are staying home. So people are afraid to be out in the world. That might be different if everybody wasn't afraid and they were out. So just giving a little feedback on that. A little feedback. What's this here? The day inspired one of the highest grossing film franchise, film set series, Friday the 13th. Yeah, we know that. We'll talk a little bit about the movie in a second. I'm curious to know if Ron has a favorite in the series. On a country race safety and accident awareness, since 1995, Finland has dedicated one Friday the 13th in a year to observe National Accident Day. The day aims to raise awareness about safety on the roads, at home, and the workplace. Finland. That's interesting. Hey, did Lisa ever answer that question? Oh, what did she say here? In the UK, 13 is unlucky. I don't know about the number 17. Well, Lisa, for us, for the channel, I want you to go to France, hit the streets, bring people with you, and talk to them, survey it somehow. I know, Lisa, you could get us that actual answer for us. She's like, for you guys? I don't know. An asteroid will safely fly by the Earth in 2029. What's this?
Yeah, Apophis.
On Friday the 13th, April the 13th, 2029 to be exact, when 99942, Apophis was discovered in 2004. It was thought to have a small chance of colliding with Earth, but you can rest easy because since then, scientists have revised their findings that shows that there's absolutely no risk of the asteroid impacting Earth or the moon. Or are they just telling us that so we won't get worried?
I'll be making, by the way, probably later this afternoon, I want to release it yesterday. I'll be making a video on the asteroid stuff that NASA's doing now with the new surveyor and everything. I did a live stream, but it was so like talking off the cuff and everything. I want to show more info, so I'll be working on that this afternoon.
That is awesome. We got the Friday the 13th franchise that I love them all. I love Friday the 13th movies. Usually in most Friday 13th, I always sit there and I always watched Friday the 13th movies.
And that, Eric, this is all of them or whatever, like how they by the date. Well, we got Friday 19. Wow, I didn't realize that it was one a year they were spitting out.
Yeah. Well, Friday the 13th was made on the heels of when everybody saw how the movie Halloween the movie was made for less than $300,000 and how much money it made. That's when everybody was trying their shot at the horror movie. So Sean Cunningham, they came up with the idea, well, let's do one about camping. People go camping on a killer and all that. Now, if I look at all the Friday 13th, my two favorites has always been, for me, is Friday 13th Part 2. And Jason didn't even have the hockey mask until Part 3. I love Friday 13th Part 2. When Jason saw his mother's head on the table, I just thought that scene was just powerful because he loved his mom so much, he kept her head on the table and get revenge for what they did to his mom. Okay? And then my second favorite has always been Friday 13th Part 6. When they decided, you know what? We're going to go all out on this. We're going to tell people we're going to go all out on this. Instead of having him keep on surviving somehow, we're going to have electricity, bring him back to life. And I remember because they played this in Fresno. I grew up in Fresno. And they had they did midnight shows. Friday the 13th midnight show. And Friday the 13th Part 6 just came out. And actually, you could saw any other Friday the 13th in that cinema. It was a Friday the 13th night at the cinema. And I remember going there by midnight. Everybody had masks on, dressed. Everybody was having a great time. I mean, it was fantastic. Jason coming back to life. I mean, sticking his hand through the body, pulling out the heart. I loved Friday the 13th Part 6. Now, I don't know how many Friday the 13th movies, Ron, you saw and all that. If you saw them, do you have a favorite of the Friday the 13th series?
If I had to make a choice, which I'll do right now, I would say 2 is mine.
See,
and
you're like me. Love Part 2.
I gave up on the 1. It's just funny that you brought those 2 up. My favorite was number 2, and I gave up on the series after 6. I didn't watch any more of them.
I can see that.
It was just enough for me. Like, all right, like, let me guess what he's gonna do this movie. Hey, he's gonna kill people like that. Like, but I don't know.
And I think for me, it was because the experience of going to the cinema at midnight, being with everybody, with the mask, the whole thing. Now, I actually made a video about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, on the Friday the 13th remake in 2009. And I was trying to pull out that my evidence was that Jason was basically, he was a drug lord in that movie. He was basically the drug lord, and all the cops in town were all in on it. I did a whole video on trying to prove my point that Jason was just a drug lord in that movie, because when you watch Friday the 13th 2009 remake, technically there's a group of people went up there to camp. For what reason? To steal marijuana from a marijuana field, right? And they went to the field, and Jason started killing, and Jason was guarding it. And the reason I was saying he was a drug lord is because the cops, there was a guy looking for a sister that went missing. And they said they went up to that area millions of times. They couldn't find any evidence. Listen, I know there's some maybe more Hickville type towns, but you're going to tell me that Jason knows how to clean up every single DNA, clean up every single blood? I think the cops were in on it, and they were part ownership of this marijuana farm. And they letting Jason be what he's be because they were behind making the money off the marijuana. I did a whole video on it to prove that Jason is a drug lord.
I didn't watch it that far. I'm telling you, I gave up. Like, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, like, let me ask you something. Halloween, what is that up to? 1,475? Which show?
How many movies they made, you mean?
Yeah, like, what are they up to now? Part what?
Well, I know there was in the original series, they went from like Halloween. Well, I mean, if you count 3, it wasn't even about Michael Myers. They went to Halloween, like, I think all the way to 8 with the first, with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back the first time, coming back. And after that 8, and then since 2018, they revised it with 3 more of saying that episode 2 to 8 never existed. So the 2018 Halloween was a direct sequel from the first one. Now, the weird thing about that was when they came back out in 2018, I'm like, all right, they did justice. It was actually good. And then the second one was so bad, made me throw up in my mouth. Then I was like, the third one got to be better than this new version of Michael Myers, and it was called Halloween End. It just came out last year. And when I went and saw the theater, I was so angry. I was so mad. My daughter was like, "Why are you mad?" I go, "This movie fucking was worse than the last one." Gee, first of all, Michael Myers wasn't even in it, really. And but what's the philosophy? It's the town that becomes Michael Myers. Like, get the hell out of here. It's a simple story about a serial killer. When you start trying to add in...
Did you see what Lisa just said in the chat? Can you bring hers up? Oh, wait. No, not that. Wait. This one right here. No, the one above that one. Halloween Ends. I told her they lied. That's a lie. They're not going to end nothing.
Well, that Halloween Ends, to me, is the worst Halloween movie they've ever made. I was so angry. I was like, now there's a new guy in there? A new character? Oh, he's becoming the killer? Like, oh my God, just stop it. I remember on not Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, was probably one of the worst Friday the 13th movies ever. It's when the ambulance driver was the killer. And then they try to make that boy from Friday the 13th Part 4 into being the new Jason. They decided to bring him back to life. I felt that
it became like anybody would end up becoming Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Like
Amber, I love you. But I'm sorry, I freaking hate Halloween Inn so bad that my daughter was like, "Why are you so angry?" No, I hated this trash. I just, it pissed me off. Oh, yeah, no, I forgot. Hold on. You had the 8 originals. You had those 3. I forgot the Ron Zombies. Ron Zombie had 2 Halloween movies. And I'm going to say it was unpopular. People do not like Ron Zombie's Halloween movies. I'm going to say Halloween 2 on the Ron Zombie is my second favorite Halloween movie. And I think Ron Zombie should be laughing at what they did with these last 2 Halloween movies because they're a joke, in my opinion. But Amber, I loved it that you liked it. I hated it. I completely hated it. But beyond that, now if you're aliens, would they fly here on Friday the 13th? Actually, I got a video here, but it's called If Aliens Exist, How Would They Find Earth in the First Place?
how would they know what Friday is? What the 13th is?
Now, this video has nothing to do with Friday the 13th, but I just wanted to add a little bit more to the show, just Friday the 13th. But
you clickbaiter. That's it.
Well, I did write. The question is, would aliens fly if it was Friday the 13th, if they know a lot about us? But first of all, let's find out, how would aliens even know we exist on Earth? Well, here's some theories on how they would know.
Let's assume for a minute that intelligent extraterrestrials exist, and that they're just as curious about the universe as we are. If they're looking for habitable exoplanets, how would they find Earth? It might be easier than you think. Radio signals have been expanding into space since we first harnessed the technology in the 1900s. We've even purposely broadcast messages directly at other stars in the hopes that aliens are listening. So far, they haven't returned our calls. And if transmissions don't give us away, our emissions might. Since the mid-1700s, we've been filling the atmosphere with a multitude of greenhouse gases. This pollution could be visible to alien astronomers, in the same way they could detect oxygen in our atmosphere. More emissions would slightly alter our atmospheric makeup, indicating that Earth is habitable and that we're a tech-savvy civilization. There are also maps to Earth currently gliding through space aboard NASA's twin Voyager spacecraft. If aliens ever intercept and decode it, they'll have a handy set of directions. Or, extraterrestrials might employ one of our most commonly used methods to find exoplanets: transits. Every time a planet crosses in front of its host star, the star's light dims at regular intervals. One team of researchers plotted out which parts of the sky would have the best view of our solar system, and found that out of the thousands of known exoplanets, 9 are ideally placed to observe Earth transits. But even if aliens searching for habitable worlds do happen to spot Earth, it could take upward of thousands of years to make contact.
So you're the electronic kind of a guy. Everything she said in there, are those some of the things that life out there would receive and know that we're here?
Well, if you think about it, right? Because at first when she said that about the pollution and this and that, I was kind of like, oh, come on. But then I thought about it. What are we doing right now when we have Hubble, when we have Webb, right? Like we're discovering a bunch of exoplanets, and we could actually see what they're made up of, like what gases are on that planet. If there's water, so why couldn't they, right? So, but I think if with the pollution and everything, they would be less inclined to come here and be like, we're already choking over here. Why are we going to go over there? But then again, I think anything's possible when it comes to them like that. I just wish we met them already.
Do you think the satellites that we sent out could one day be received by them?
Well, think about it. Took 43 years, traveling 35,000 miles an hour to go interstellar. So it just left our solar system in 2018. And remember, I think it's on the Voyager. I don't know if it's on the 2. I think that's the one that Carl Sagan, remember that we put the gold record?
Yeah.
And it has the symbols, it has Earth sounds and music in that. So why not? I mean, just imagine that. They're still going.
And wasn't isn't that the satellite they kind of use as a reference in the movie Starman?
Yes, the Voyager 1.
Yeah, it flew, and then the place got it, and that's where they were learning some of their language. What's on that?
I believe that's what that was. Yeah. But just imagine that. I think it was, I could be wrong. It was either 76 or 77 is when we launched them. And imagine traveling for 35,000 miles per hour for 43 years straight. Then we just left our solar system. And our solar system is a speck on a quadrillion beaches of all the sand in the universe. That's what we are in our galaxy, in the solar system.
It is. It's weird to think about. It is weird to think about because there are science. If you look it up, if you can look it up, what I'm saying here is there's the belief in science that life cannot be anywhere else except on here. And that's, and when I'm thinking of that, like, well, if all your science you learn in life to do is only been on this planet, then how do you know that kind of science will work across the whole galaxy, that there can't be life anywhere else, only on here? I mean, how isn't it ever responsible to say that kind of science, that life cannot exist anywhere else except on here?
Yeah, but can you repeat the last part, Eric?
Well, I was
I caught the first part, and then when I was typing, I just lost the last part. So can you repeat that again, please?
I wish I had it written down, because my son had a class, and it was a science class, and a science teacher was basically telling, science-wise, it's impossible for life to be anywhere else beyond Earth at all. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I was just thinking, and when I heard that, I'm like, well, thinking to myself, well, if all the science you ever done has just been on this planet, how do you know that science that you learn here with the chemicals and stuff that we have
the
here
Fermi paradox
is not the same as out there?
Well, that's the thing too. It's because you go by Fermi paradox, right? Where Enrico Fermi, what he said was like, with the size of space and everything, like it's almost impossible that there's not other life, but where are they, right? And the thing that gets me is, like, you see, when this is one thing that burns me up, when they say this planet can have alien life on it. It's what you call it, because it's in the Goldilocks zone for water. No, they should say it can have life as we know it. Because they just they always say, like, oh, it has to have water or this and that. If it's a human or something, or other mammals, but we don't know what's out there. There's probably a whole other law of physics out there that we're totally wrong.
That's what exactly. We have to have water, but it doesn't mean life somewhere else has to have the exact same kind of water that we have to have.
Exactly. That's why I say they should say, oh, it can have life as we know it. By the way, it's located in the Goldilocks zone or whatever, but they don't say it. They just say that planet, now that can't, because it's just basically all hydrogen or something like that. How do you know? Look at those friggin' things that are down by the volcano vents in the ocean, that there's supposed to not be any life, and it's nothing but life down there that will poison you and I, And
let me ask you your feelings. I know nobody knows that 100% because we just really don't know. Do you feel honestly to yourself that there are intelligent life out there? That's, I mean, not we both agree there. We know there's life out there, but is there life out there that are smarter and have the technology that's been here?
Well, think about this, right? So I already gave you, and I know a few people had emailed me because on my theory, when I said I believe that we've been here many, many, many times like that, and we've had such technological advancements and civilizations that eventually we left because of whatever was coming. I don't know, a comet, whatever the hell like that, and they come back. Everybody thought that's what I think aliens are, just that, just us. No, that's part of it. But think about it, what we were just talking about, Eric, with the size, right? 35,000 miles an hour for over 4 decades straight and just left the solar system. And we're a speck in our own galaxy, and there's trillions of galaxies. Our galaxy is 100,000 light years across. 100,000 is everything that we see with our own eyes, the stars in the sky are in our galaxy. We don't see nothing outside like that. We only actually see basically in our soul, we need to use strong things. But what I'm getting at is it's so big. Like,
It's
it really would
mind-blowing.
be disappointing if we're the only thing. You know what I mean?
No, it's so mind-blowing when you sit there and think about it at night, knowing that if you travel, you keep going and keep going and keep going. Blackness.
Infinite. Infinity. When they say infinity, because think about it, right? So I know I sound like a broken record, but because if you could get that in your head, 35,000 miles an hour, right? That's pretty friggin' fast. If something passed by you, it would just puff, like in the Avengers movie when he snapped his fingers. That's what would happen, right? Something passes by. And traveling for 4 decades, and it's the equivalent of you getting up right now and moving maybe a tenth of an inch. That's it. Not even. That's the distance that covered so far. Nothing. It's like they never left. That's how big space is. That's why they said galaxies, when we collide with Andromeda, probably in 1 billion years, it's so far apart things. We can actually collide and nothing touches each other. Not a star hits each other. Like, I know I get off it. I go on wild
I know. But it is. It makes me think. Guys, I got one more video I'm going to show you. This actually was sent to me from Ron. It's called Top 10 Strange Superstitions Around the World. I just did a background check to make sure there's no copyrights on it. So far, there's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I just checked there. I'm going to show that. But while I show it, people in the chat, UFOs, aliens, they exist. They're smarter than us. Of all days they travel, do you think, one, that they would travel on Friday the 13th, two, that even aliens will skip traveling the Earth on Friday the 13th? So one, that they will, two, that they won't. So put that in the chat. I'm going to get this video up because I burnt it off, making sure. Top 10, where is it? Let me find you here. Here we go. Top 10 strange things.
People are at least a little superstitious, whether that be placing trust in lucky numbers or trying to avoid bad omens. Different cultures have incredible stories behind their superstitions. Pirates believed that piercing the ears with such precious metals as silver and gold improved one's eyesight. Many believe that if all of the candles on a birthday cake are blown out with one breath, while making a silent wish, the wish will come true. Breaking a mirror is said to bring bad luck for 7 years. To undo this, take the shards of glass and bury them underneath the moonlight. In ancient times, the mirror...
Hold on, you guys hear that? If you guys break a glass, bury it. So if you guys, that happens to you, I broke a lot of glass before. Does a cup glass count too? Or is it just mirrors? This is probably just mirrors. So if you break a mirror, you got to bury it. But wouldn't you hate to be, but what if Ron buried a broken mirror and somebody know it and they're digging, looking for something, or I don't know, they're looking for a plumbing pipe and they cut themselves. That would be bad luck, I guess. That'd be messed up.
Transfer my bad mojo over to you like that, right? Oh boy. Do you believe in that? Like, not believe in that.
I've heard that my whole life.
Are you very superstitious?
No, because I've broken a lot of mirrors. So I know it's weird, but I've broken mirrors and I don't know, right? I don't know. In a way,
like my umbrella. When I come in, it's raining. I can't leave it outside. Somebody can trip over it. I come in, I open it up, throw it in my bathtub.
Well, and I start thinking about it. Well, what's considered good luck and bad luck? Is my life considered right now? Has it been good luck or has it been bad luck? I don't know. You know, we all have ups and downs.
Yeah, because if I'm having good luck, then I'm really scared of bad luck. That's because good luck sucks.
Exactly. Exactly. That's funny.
The mirror was said to be a window to the viewer's soul. If that mirror were to break, it would. The superstitious symbolism of a black cat crossing one's path is dependent upon culture. Some cultures consider this a sign of impending bad luck, while some cultures consider this a sign of impending good luck. Whistling while you work may be an issue in Lithuania, where it's forbidden to whistle indoors, because the noise is believed to summon demons.
Really? I've never heard of that. So some belief says if you blow a whistle inside of a building, you're going to summon demons? Hey, Ron, when you and Anthony go on a paranormal investigation, you might bring a whistle with you. When you go inside a building, you might want to blow it to see if the demons come.
Yeah, sure, right away. Like
That, you know, like have somebody write it down. Okay, in the first hour, don't blow the whistle. See if something happens. Then the next hour, blow the whistle and see if something happens. She might have to try. You might have to write that down.
According to a Russian superstition, bird poop that lands on you or something that belongs to you will bring you wealth. Something to keep in mind the next time you're reading under a tree. Friday the 13th, like the number 7 for the Romans, magical significance has been attached to the number 13, but this time, it's unlucky rather than lucky. The number 12 has frequently been seen as positive, naturally making its nearest neighboring number to the north negative. Russia, putting empty bottles on the ground. Placing empty bottles on the ground is considered a good luck practice in Russia. The superstition comes from a legend involving Russian soldiers in the 19th century.
But what if Russians are all drunks and they just want to look like they're not drunks and they put all the bottles on the ground, say they're doing it for good luck, but in reality it's just because they're alcoholics. I don't know. They say Russians love their vodka, you know. I don't know.
I call that devil juice. It was for me when I used to drink it. Mm-hmm.
Vodka is not to drink it straight. It's a bad tasting liquor.
That's how I would drink it. And no ice.
Vodka has to be mixed with something. You're tough, man. You're tough.
No, then I went over to Glenlivet, but that's it.
The Moscow Times. While the soldiers were in Paris, they were able to save money on alcohol by hiding their empty bottles on the ground rather than leaving them on the table, as they were being charged by the empty bottles they left behind. Serbia, spilling water behind someone. It is a common Serbian superstition to believe that spilling water behind someone will bring them good luck. People will often spill some water behind a loved one who is about to go on a trip or job interview in order to wish them luck. The water is thought to be lucky because it represents fluidity and motion. Spain, eating grapes on New Year's Eve instead of counting down to the new year and clinking champagne flutes. Spaniards traditionally stuff 12 grapes into their mouths at the stroke of midnight. The 12 grapes represent the 12 months of the year.
And you choke to death, and that's
Spanish
how you go
tradition
into
is
the new
meant to
year.
bring good luck in the new year.
Well, I guess if it's almost New Year's and some beautiful girl is eating grapes in front of you, I guess in your mind you'd be like, "This is the greatest day of my life."
Oh, anytime there's a woman in front of me, I feel like that.
And if you're a woman seeing a handsome guy eating grapes in front of you, right before New Year's, that'd probably be the greatest day.
12 grapes in their mouth like that just before New Year. That's why I said you end up freaking choking and you're going to the New Year stiff.
You won't choke because you're not eating 13 grapes. So 12 is just right before 13. Remember, 12 is there's 12 months. There's 12 in the clock. So that's the luckiest day. So 12 grapes, you're fine. But if you go for 13, that might be the bad luck grape to choke. I'm just saying.
They even call the eggs a baker's dozen, right? Like 13 of them, a baker's dozen.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. So, everybody, tomorrow's Friday the 13th. I don't know where you guys fall on tomorrow. For myself, I'm hoping that the unlucky 13 is not a bad luck day because you might hear about me in the news. And what if you guys watch the news, right? And the ship goes under. I'm just saying. And all you see on top of the water is a cowboy hat. Then you guys know.
I can see him, like, God forbid, but like him going down, drowning like that. And, you see somebody grabbing onto something. It would be him like this, holding his mug like that, advertising his Paranormal Highway. That's it.
Yeah. And I won't be like that.
Don't say that no more.
And guys, I want to be like that movie Jack in Titanic when what's her name was on that nice big huge piece of board and there was not enough room for Jack to get on it.
Selfish bitch. She should have freaking swapped him every hour. They should think that.
I'm like, there's plenty of room for both.
Oh, she could have jumped off and like swapped. You go an hour on, I'm out like that. She let that boy freeze like a piece of sirloin.
Yes and no, Amber. Tomorrow, the tickets were half off, so we thought it'd be the perfect time to go. Sometimes we go when it's considered bad weather of the year, less people in restaurants, and we are going to be renting the car and going out into the woods out there. And there is some pretty good Bigfoot sightings that's up there in the Vancouver Island. Now, guys, it's not technically it's an island to get there, but it does connect to a land base way up. So it's not like it's its very own island. It does connect it, but they call it an island because there's a big, huge Puget Sound water between the Vancouver Island and Vancouver City. So, but yeah. So you can say that I guess I'm going somewhat of an investigate because anywhere I go, I always investigate. Now, will I catch something? I don't know. 8 out of 10 times. Usually you don't, but you never know. It might be that one time I go out there and I see a Canadian Bigfoot. They're probably the nicest Bigfoot in the world, right? Because Canadians are nice people. So maybe the Bigfoot out there is friendly. Maybe we'll have play some cards, and we'll say A lot. A. So Ron, what do you got coming up? Today's Thursday. You got anything coming up?
Not today. What I'm probably going to do a members stream tonight, late tonight. Maybe I don't know. Think about 10ish maybe. I'm going to put something up in a little while, but tomorrow. I'm not scared. We're going to be doing the weekend warm up here. So you don't got to go looking for it. I could pull it right here. Is this it right here? Oh, right here. There you go. That one. And even though, yeah, I like it messing around with you guys now, but like I know you said you're not available. If you get a moment, you want to like do one of yours real quick, just jump on whatever. Yeah. But Anthony will be with me tomorrow. What's going to happen is tomorrow, going to probably just tell everybody what the finishing touches will be on the diorama, the Bigfoot one, and then try to really finish it off on Saturday show at 3:00. Because that's probably when I'm going to do the drawing and do a couple of giveaways also and give away the diorama this Saturday. I haven't put the thumbnail up yet. I'm going to work on that after the show.
Yeah. And like I said, for me, everything depends. Like I said, because once you get over to Canada, our phones don't work there unless you pay money for international. Only way for me access back to America is with internet. And
Eric,
after Terror World,
you made it. You made yourself clear. Okay.
Amber wrote,
Inside joke, everybody. Sorry.
she wrote, Eric, this might be where you have your big experience. What she's talking about is her and another channel, Nona Boss, were talking to a medium that mentioned my name to them that says something big is going to happen for me from January to February. So she's saying is that might be the big thing because Amber, every single day I'm checking because of you, Amber. You're costing me money because I'm buying lottery tickets every single week because I'm looking for that big thing that's going to happen. So I hope that's the big thing. Maybe,
Yeah, but I think you can't look for it. You got to let it happen.
Yeah, you got to let it happen. Exactly. But beyond that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today. Today is a little bit more relaxed, kind of different, kind of fun. Just, it's just, talk about Friday the 13th and all that. And it sucks for me in a way. I'm glad I'm going on this trip, but usually on every Friday the 13th at night, I always put a Friday the 13th movie on. That has always been my tradition. But I guess this year that tradition is going to skip, unless maybe I'm in a hotel room and maybe I will find me a Friday the 13th movie. But I usually watch it every year. And I want to thank Lisa, Dina, Gigi, Brown Dwarf, Amber for being here. Venom is here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great people. Mike Johnson has been here.
Lisa Gambino has been really helpful. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Cat 1137's here. Mythic. So I probably missed a lot of people, but I want to say thank you guys for being here on Friday the 12th, and hopefully tomorrow you all have a safe, very safe day. And for me, I hope my day tomorrow is safe. Otherwise, this might be the final broadcast you ever saw of the Great One. And then watch. What's going to happen watch. I go under, and then all these phone calls from the studio saying, we want that cartoon. The cartoon somehow breaks through to a viral, and I'm not here to benefit from that.
Don't worry. I'll take care of it with Anthony. You got you covered.
I'll take care of it.
I'll upgrade your headstone.
Beyond that, guys, I'll check you guys later and see you guys tomorrow on Ron's channel. Have a great
7 p.m.
Where is my ending for today?